This video is going to be about managing our surfaces. Um, in the older version of Revit, we can actually split a topo surface into two different surfaces, if you will, and then we can edit them individually. Now we can't do that. I can't figure out how to split them with the new changes because as if you've seen some of the older videos, you see the menu has changed a lot. What we used to have a thing called subregions, and I may interchangeably use that. The terminology now is subdivide, and that's typically how we would create our roadways, parking lots, and sidewalks, things of that nature. Because when we subdivide, it maintains the topography of the topo solid that's under it. So to start with, I'm working the same file that I had in the last video, except for I fixed this. There was an errant contour line that was coming out over here blocking these things. So I just came in here to edit this. Come on. I just added a point, and I'll show you. I added this point right here, and I made it like -3 inches, and that pulled that contour line out of the way. All right, so we want to do we want to subdivide. So select your topo solid, and let's go subdivide. And you notice I've got the AutoCAD file visible under there. And in previous versions, the roadway was green lines. In this one, I guess they're magenta. Whatever color they are. I'm assuming yours will be magenta also. Okay. Um, oh, all right. So we want to come here. We want to go subdivide. And I'm going to go make sure we got boundary line on. Um, if you turn on when we first come in here, if you go pick lines and if you go lock, it will align and lock your your sketch to the underlying CAD file. Now I'm not sure what will happen when you delete that CAD file because there's nothing there for it to lock to anymore. But either way, I'm not going to lock it for this demonstration. But I'll go pick lines, and then I'll hover over this one line with my mouse, and you'll see it picks that one line. If you hold down the Tab key, it picks the entire chain. And I just click it once. I'll go to the other side of my road, same way, Tab, and click it, and it picks the entire chain. And I want to get the inside of this little island here. There we go. It may have picked both of them that time. The problem with this is they're both magenta. I just noticed that. Picked that and picked that. And now I want to draw lines across the bottom to join these. Okay. Now I don't know, it may have picked two lines up here. I don't know, but let's go. Yeah, lines are open on one end. So let's just delete all of those and go again. Okay, and so now that's created a subdivide or a subcategory, and I can change my material over here. And I want to make it asphalt pavement, light gray. It turns out looking white when we do the rendering, but we'll go with that. Okay. Now the height on that, if you notice, the subdivide height was at 1 foot, which is kind of high. But I want to show you some things, and you notice it says here inherit contours, meaning that it's going to slope with the original topo surface. So let's go to our 3D view, and there you can see our roadway and our parking lot. Okay, and if we come down here, let's play with our height right here, and let's make it 6 inches. Okay, and so that everything's still visible. Those contour lines are popping up. That's the AutoCAD sketch that is appearing in that. Okay. So let's look at next. Let's look at property lines. So we have two different ways of dealing with property lines. One is by sketching, and one is by entering in the bearings and the distances of the lines. You'll be doing it both ways in your projects, in the future. So I'm going to go through kind of both of them quickly. The property line command, and we'll start with sketching. And I'm going to pick lines, and don't lock it because you'll get an error message. Okay. So I want to pick that line and that line and this line, and for some reason on mine, I don't know if I deleted it accidentally or it just isn't there, but there's not one across the end. So I'll draw a line connecting those 2 points. And then I'll go, okay, finish that. Now you see it in blue, that's my property line. I didn't want to edit it. Okay. Oh, I can go edit table here. I don't want to do that. Okay. Now to do it by distance and bearing, you have to understand a little bit about survey annotation on direction. When it says bearing, it doesn't mean degrees of a circle like you would read off of a compass. It means an angle of up to 90 degrees to the right or the left of north or south. So we're going to start here, line number 1. I'm going to put in 100 feet, and I'm going to say north 90 degrees to the east, which means it's going to be a horizontal line moving 100 feet to the right, to the east. Okay. Now insert another line. Let's say, just for giggles, let's go 90 feet. Now this is going to be heading south or heading downward. So we're going to change that to south, and we're going to leave it at 0 degrees. East is fine, or it doesn't matter. Okay, so this line is vertical, but it's coming down. All right, so let's insert another line, and let's make this one 100 feet. And this is going to be horizontal, or going to the left horizontally. And if I say north, let's say 80 degrees to the west. Okay, that means it's going to the left. And then we can go add line to close. And then it will calculate whatever distance and bearing you need to close out the perimeter. Okay, and so we'll say okay. And in there is my property line. This was right here was line number 1. Remember, it was north 90 degrees east. Line number 2 was south 0 degrees. Okay, and then line number 3 was north 80 degrees east. So it's going upward, if you will, but it's 80 degrees from there. And then the closure was right here. So there's two different ways of dealing with property lines. Now let's look at site amenities, and I'm going to turn off my CAD file so that it's not getting in my way here. And in our site, I say amenities, we've got parking components. These are parking spaces, and you got four different ones loaded right here. Let's stick with the 9 by 18 by 90 degrees. And when you place these things come in horizontally. Um, they're they're not they don't contour well, and so I'm going to place one, escape out, and now I want to flip it and then flip it again, and now I'll bring it back down a little bit closer and then snap it to the edges of my subcategory there. And you can see that there's two lines, and then there's the paint strip. Okay, so let's go to 3D view and look at it. And so there it is in the 3D view. Okay, now I can copy this thing. I can do an array. And you notice it's there, but it's underneath the pavement. If I were to go to wireframe, there it is. Okay, so it's under the pavement because right now our pavement is sloping down below level 1. Okay, so let's look at annotate and go spot elevation. And let's just put in a few, I don't know, I'll do one. How come it's not? I guess I need a line there. Come on. Okay, so you can see this parking lot slopes from 5/16 of an inch at this edge here to, almost 2 inches down here. And what's happening is these things are going below um, the subdivision. So we can add a couple of inches to that, see if that fixes it. Okay, so that fixed that one. Well, I'm still in wireframe mode. Nope, wasn't enough. Okay, so that one worked. And this is a problem with some of the site stuff in Revit. It's not great for doing those kind of things. It takes a little time. And if you do an array, be sure that you do not group your array uh, features so that you can edit each of them individually. And I'll go and say there's some Revit add-ins that you can put in. Um, some are free, some you have to purchase, and they're little apps that reside within the program. And a couple of years ago, I tried one for uh, site amenities that was supposed to make like curb and gutter follow the contour. Well, it didn't work. It kept crashing my program. So some of the site work stuff is really difficult to deal with in Revit, but that's how that works. Let's look at some of the other things here. Uh, So if we look at site components, the first thing that pops up here is an RPC tree, deciduous red ash. In the families, the RPC means I can't remember what the abbreviation stands for, but when it's rendered, it looks lifelike. But when you're not in render mode, it looks like cardboard cutouts. Okay. And then these just get placed on, you know, wherever the elevation is where you're placing them. Okay, so you can see here, those are the trees, and you can see each one as I came up at a contour, it places it on the topo solid. Now, if I go to my render mode, realistic, give it a minute, and you can see now it looks like a lifelike tree. But when you're in any other mode, it just looks like the cardboard cutouts. Okay, and so now let's go back. Let's load some more. So let's go load families, and let's go down to plantings. Well, since we just did trees, let's do that. And so here's kind of what we've got. That one looks like that all the time. Okay, the RPCs are going to be the most that you're going to end up using. So if we look at RPC shrubs, and let's go back to place a component. And so here's all the different shrubs that are available. Okay, uh, so I don't know. We'll go place a couple of grasses and some rhododendrons. Okay, and then take a look at them. So there you go. Real nice photo quality looking things there. Okay, so let's see what else is in there. Um, so you've got different types of plants. So let's go up and look at entourage. In entourage, you can bring in people. You can bring in a car or bring in a beetle. Okay, and just for giggles, let's go ahead and bring in a couple of people. Uh, okay, and so let's go back over to render or realistic and take a look at it. So there she's sitting down. So Cynthia, let's see. Ah, there's one standing. Okay, so I just changed it there. Okay. I don't know what's in the car. Let's take a look at the car. No change on the car. Okay. Um, Now one of the things if you put plantings in and any of these site components and things, they're fine in 3D view. They're fine on your site plan, but make sure that they are not visible in your floor plans because we don't show those kinds of things in floor plans. Okay. So I'm not going to get into doing that right now, but you would turn those things off in visibility and graphics.